With a 45, 45, 90 triangle, it's one of what we call a special right triangle. There's specific rules for it. So a triangle has two legs and a hypotenuse. So this is a leg, my leg, and we know this one is the hypotenuse. So when we're working with this 45, 45, 90 triangle, that is telling me that this is 45 degrees and this angle is 45 degrees. And of course we have our 90-degree triangle. That's how we know what to do. These legs, they are actually the same length. So if one leg is 10, the other leg is 10. If one leg is 15, the other leg is 15. If one leg is 1,000, the other leg is 1,000. So with this 45, 45, 90 triangle, our hypotenuse, we calculate that by multiplying the square root of 2 times whatever my leg is. You'll see it as x times square root 2. So if my leg was 3, this would be 3 times square root 2. And we would leave it like that, okay? So let's go ahead and look at this. So again, here, the legs are the same. So this x equals 3. My y, because hypotenuse equals leg times the square root of 2. I'm going to take the hypotenuse, and that's what I'm looking for. My leg is 3, and I'm going to multiply it by the square root of 2. That means my hypotenuse equals 3 square root 2. So that's what my y is, 3 square root 2. So if we look here, I need to find my x and my y. So this one is going to throw you off because you're looking at it. Last time x was a leg. This time my x is a hypotenuse. So please be careful because the lettering doesn't matter. We know this. So this is a hypotenuse. This is a leg. So we know that this is 10. Well, I want to do my legs in blue. So let me change colors. This is a leg. So y is 10. To find my hypotenuse, we know we'll take whatever my leg is and multiply it by the square root of 2. So my hypotenuse equals 10 for the leg times square root of 2. So my hypotenuse, which is x, equals 10 square root 2. Now, every hypotenuse does not have to end with square root 2. I'm going to skip a few examples and go to this triangle that I drew here. So if my leg is square root 2, let's solve for the other leg is square root 2, of course. We're going to solve for the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse equals leg times square root 2. Well, my hypotenuse is going to be square root 2 times square root 2. So if I have square root 2 times square root 2, that's easy. My hypotenuse equals 2. Because if you have two square root symbols and the number inside are the identical numbers, that cancels out these square root signs. But in case you needed to see it a different reason, because 2 times 2 is 4, and the square root of 4 equals 2. So you can see it that way as well. But again, two identical square roots means take away that square root. The square root symbol cancels. So now we can go to this example. Let's look here. This time my 10 is my hypotenuse. See, this is a whole number, just like my example here where my hypotenuse was 2, not just a square root symbol at the end. I am doing it differently because now I'm going to be solving for my legs. So we're going to use the same equation. My hypotenuse equals leg times square root of 2. But this time we have 10 For my hypotenuse, we're still looking for my leg times square root 2. What we're going to do is solve for basically if the L is an X and divide both sides by the square root of 2. This means 10 over square root 2 is going to be starting off with what my leg equals. But we cannot leave a square root symbol at the bottom. That is a no rule for math. So to undo that, we're going to multiply both the top and the bottom by square root 2. That's going to equal 10 square root 2 over square root 4, because we're multiplying that together. And again, I told you square root 2, when you have times square root 2, so two identical square roots multiply, you can just cancel out the square root symbol. So we're looking at 10 square root 2 over 2. We are almost done. My legs, both x and y, because they're the same, are going to equal. Well, we need to divide 10 and 2. Those are whole numbers. It works. That gives me 5, but we can't get rid of my square root 2. So both legs equals 5 square root 2. But sometimes it's not that perfect. We can look here, and we see this one. This shows me my hypotenuse has a square root of 3. It's not even a square root of 2. So we need to find my legs. Again, same formula. Hypotenuse equals leg times square root 2. My hypotenuse, 7 square root 3. And we are solving for my legs. So we will end up dividing both sides by the square root of 2. These cancel. So my leg is going to be 7 square root 3 over square root 2. But you cannot have a square root symbol at the bottom and leave it there. So we need to multiply both top and bottom by the square root of 2 to cancel out the square root symbol for the bottom. That is going to give me 7 square root 6, because 3 times 2 is 6, over 2. Now, that is our answer, because 2 divided by 7, it gives me a decimal of 3.5. And I don't like a decimal, personally, for my legs, so I'm going to leave it as a fraction, but I would accept either answer. So your leg is either 3.5, oops, not square root 2, that should be square root 6. So 3.5 square root 6, or 7 square root 6 over 2. Now I have 2 more examples I want to go through. Without drawing the triangle, I'm telling you my leg is square root 3. So my hypotenuse equals my leg times square root 2. We're solving for the hypotenuse. So my leg is square root 3. It doesn't matter. So we're going to just go ahead and put that in parentheses. No matter what my leg looks like, we're putting that there. Times square root 2. My hypotenuse, 3 times 2 is 6. So the square root of 6 is my hypotenuse for this one. Now, this is going to freak y'all out. When you see a fraction, you're going to be like, oh my God. Y'all, it's easy. I'm going to do it 2 different ways for you guys. The first way I feel like y'all are going to do is turning into a decimal. So my leg is 0.5 square root 2. I feel like y'all are going to be perfectly fine with that. So use the same equation. Hypotenuse equals leg times square root of 2. So we're going to be hypotenuse equals 0.5 square root 2 times square root 2. we can look right here and multiply those together. The square root 2 and the square root 2. Again, it's going to cancel, and it's going to give me just a number 2, and I'm going to bring down the 0.5. And they are multiplying together. So 0.5 times 2, that's super easy. That's 1. So that is one way to solve this. Or the second way is go ahead and leave it as a fraction. I'm going to keep that there. We could keep it as a fraction and work it out that way. But you know what? I'm going to just leave it. I want y'all to go ahead and convert it to a decimal. I changed my mind. So that is how we solve for the legs and the hypotenuse of 45, 45, 90 triangles.